Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Daily Squeeze. Brian Farr here with Stock Dads. Hope everyone's doing well and life is going great. It's been a while since I've talked to you, so let's take a look at everything. Market, as you may have known it, is at fresh all-time highs. Today, a little bit of a mixed bag today, but nonetheless, the SPY closes slightly flat. The NASDAQ did lead the way today, up about 0.7%. Bitcoin had a pretty stellar day, up about 5%. Semiconductors also had a pretty good day with a decent upgrade on LMU from JP Morgan. So we'll take a look at that as well. But all in all, a little bit of a boring session I might want to add. It was a low volume session. We've seen a lot of these low volume sessions these past few weeks. It's just been kind of this little bit of a grind, slow moves up, slow moves down, or just plain out chop, to be honest with you. We haven't had too much aggressiveness out there since Powell last week. So but today, the SPY could not quite get above Thursday's high of about 531.50. We seem to have rejected there. And yeah, just a little bit boring overall. If we come into the 30-minute chart here, we can see on the volume profile, yeah, a little bit of a B-shaped profile here, just overall chop. And, what I would like to see here is there are a few uncontested point of controls here on the volume profile down here. If we do start to see a breakdown within the next day or so, we could see a move back down to 528.78. And then as you can see, there's a lot of these low volume areas here within these volume profiles that could become necessary targets to kind of take out. And then we also have a gap down here between 525 and about 523 and some change. And then we have an uncontested point of control all the way down here. So if we do start to lose a little bit of water here, then I would like to target some downside here. But this market has been pretty darn resilient regardless, and the market, all it wants to do is go up. Bad news is good news. Good news remains good news. And, this week, as far as the calendar goes, it's very, there's not much cheddar here. We got a bunch of Fed speakers. Today there was a bunch of Fed speakers. Tomorrow we have a bunch of Fed speakers. We get Fed meeting minutes from the prior meeting on Wednesday. Usually this is kind of a nothing burger. We already pretty much know what's going on. They've been very communicative about everything. So usually you get like a little bit of volatility, but for the most part it's a nothing burger. So I am not anticipating anything new to come out of these FOMC meeting minutes. So yeah, we'll see. And then Thursday, it spices up a little bit with unemployment and the manufacturing PMI. So that could be a good thing to keep an eye on for later on this week. But looking here at the charts, SPY, pretty boring day here. NASDAQ was a little bit better. New all-time high, still trying to break above. We did get some leadership within the semiconductors, specifically Micron Technology. LMU had a nice little upgrade. However, with Micron, I do want to see it close above 130.50. That would be a close above the prior all-time high. If we can get a nice breakout above that level, then I am going to be targeting some pretty decent levels to the upside. Probably about 155 would be the measured move there for this all-time high breakout for LMU. So if LMU can start to break out, that could be a pretty darn big move there. Moving on to small caps, though. Small caps started to move up. It looked like we were going to get a nice move towards 210, but nonetheless, she started to slow down and move lower towards the end of the day. Nothing too crazy, of course. And then the Dow, of course, has been quite impressive these past few weeks. Outside bearish day, we saw relative strength here within the Dow, which was kind of dragging up the SPY. but had a weak close today. Outside bar, this could be a bearish engulfing candle. And if that is the case, if we start to move lower here on the Dow, then I definitely want to target some of these volume profile point of controls. You can see here we got an uncontested point of control down here at about 395 that I would like to possibly come back down and revisit. There's also a gap down below here that we could possibly take advantage of. But if we do start to move lower off on the Dow, then my first target would be the gap high here at about 396, and then secondary target and runners should be that gap fill area. So that is definitely something to pay attention to within the next few sessions. Moving on to the daily watch list, we had Netflix on there. Hope you all took advantage of Netflix. But Netflix, we were looking for a breakout above 625.72 with a target of this prior this prior swing high at about 641. You can see that we did get that big move to the upside from 625 all the way to 640. Lady Leverage traded this live during our session today. She absolutely nailed it. So pretty good stuff here on Netflix. This was on our daily watch list. But other than that, everything else was kind of, didn't move too much. ZOM, we didn't get our breakout move above 119. FSLR for solar, we're still looking for that breakout above 199.30 towards 210. That would be a pretty decent move there. And Tesla was quiet today. No major moves here above 180. But what was impressive today was definitely Apple. Apple finally had a pretty darn big move today and was leading the charge for pretty much the entire day. Even when we got to about noon, even when you looked on the 1 minute time frame, there was hardly any red bars. It was just straight up trend day for Apple. So what we would be looking at here on Apple, if there is a continuation move here, we want to see a breakout above 191.70 at least for a move up to about 194.44. The one thing I will add here with Apple is that it is very extended to the upside, meaning that there is a lot of air between price and the key moving average right here, which is the 21 exponential moving average. So that is a little concerning. It does make it a little... It's not a good risk to reward up here. If anything, we would like to see Apple either turn sideways or pull back into the rising 21 EMA for dynamic support and then move higher off of that. So, I'm not a big fan of buying up here. If anything, it would be a day trade for me to play the momentum, but I wouldn't strictly be a buyer here on Apple. I would like to see it pretty much kind of consolidate. But Netflix was a big mover today. NVIDIA earnings on Thursday. The whole market is pretty much watching this one. We'll see what happens. MACD still looks positive. The squeeze momentum is starting to turn. You can see that we have 2 consecutive dark blue bars here on the squeeze momentum, or excuse me, on the squeeze indicator. And, that could just signal that the daily squeeze has run its course and it's time to cool off and, reset up. But other than that, pretty good stuff here. NVIDIA setting up. You got your all-time highs at 974. It looked like we're going to have a double top and roll over, but she called itself and off she's ran, and we got a gap down here that has yet to be filled. Doesn't mean it will be filled. 9 out of 10 times they usually do. It just depends on when. It could be, years. It could take forever. It could take, just a few weeks, who knows? But yeah, definitely all eyes on NVIDIA with their earnings call on Wednesday after the bell. But yeah, good stuff here. I am still holding AMD puts. I am still holding coin puts, even though Bitcoin did have a nice move today. I am still looking. Coinbase is still a mixed bag here as far as the signals go. MACD is starting to curl, so I will need to pay attention to that, but there is a squeeze here still setting up. And the key moving averages, the structure is still pretty wonky. So yes, even though Bitcoin had a nice little Positive day here. I'm still holding some coin puts. We'll see what happens there. I could be wrong. We'll see. If we get a close above 233.69, back above the daily 50, I'll admit that I'm wrong, and then I'll move on. And then I did take a swing call on Netflix with this breakout candle, and I'm looking for much higher prices. Did go out with some time there, and basically I want to be targeting these 700 levels, so we'll see what happens there. But all right, that's going to be it, guys. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Well, let's take a look here real quick before I skedaddle. I want to take a look at the peripherals. The dollar was slightly green today, inside bar. Nothing too crazy. It's still kind of hanging out. I do have an overall downside target of about 103.77, but a slight update today for the US dollar. Generally, you want to see the dollar go down while the stocks move up. Yields slightly higher today, up to about 4.45%. 4.7% is the resistance level there to pay attention to. But, you know, still looks good. A little bit of a bounce back off the breakdown. So we'll see if anything comes out from that. Crude oil, of course, not doing much. Volatility definitely ran higher today while the SPY was running higher. That was interesting. A little bit of a red flag there for today, but VIX still closed only up about closed up about 1.34%. Definitely was much higher earlier today, but yeah, cute little red candle. We'll see if volatility creeps back in, especially with NVIDIA earnings just around the bend. All right, that's going to be it. Now that we've looked at some of the peripherals of the market, you can see that, yeah, market bulls are still very much so in control. Maybe a little tired, starting to see some tiredness here out of the indices, especially with the SPY and the Dow with that outside bearish engulfing candle here on the Dow. We'll definitely have to pay attention to that because Dow has definitely led the way up on this move, on this rally. So yeah, more to come. Let's see what happens in these next few days, especially with the earnings around the corner. All right, guys, take care. Be good. I'll see you guys in the next one.